Hello, this is Running Robert, and today we're going to be talking about the Inovio Pharmaceuticals INO Everything That Could Happen summary. Today is the 15th of September, 2025, and what we are going to do is we are going to step through the process for INO 3107 to get approved, look at everything that could happen in that way, bullish and bearish, and then try to go from there. So I generally follow small cap pharma. I do games. I do a little bit of everything. So if you like what I'm doing, hey, please like, subscribe, and super thanks. All of them help. And thank you. Disclaimer is I own stock. I bought at $1.33 and options at $2 for the 20th of February, 2026. I bought them for about 20 bucks an option. I did sell some of my starting position to break even for both the stocks and the options. This is a standard play for me. Small cap pharma is a very dangerous game. It's good to get out what you can just in case it goes south. So I am pretty much sitting and free rolling, so I'm very happy with that. But that is pretty much how I've been playing it. So I'm an amateur investor, and any advice given should be followed up by your own due diligence, and any information given is valid for today, the 15th of September. And this slideshow will not be updated, but as always, new news, new slideshow. So let's talk about the company. The company started a rolling submission for INO 3107. The company had 47 million in cash at the end of the second quarter, 2025. The company did complete a cash raise on the 3rd of July, 2025 for 25 million. In that cash raise, there were 29 million warrants that were issued at $1.75 for a grand total of up to 50 million if all the warrants are cashed. Net loss for the quarter was 23.5 million. They do expect this to be slightly low for the third quarter. The company says it has cash through the second quarter of 2026. That is going to be very important. It's going to be close. It is what it looks like. But cash is either at 72 million at the moment or 122 million if warrants are fully cashed. And that's what really we're going to be looking at and going from there. We won't know if the warrants are cashed until the next quarterly report or how many there are, but it could definitely make a difference. So let's get into it. Okay, so pretty much we're going to start at the beginning. This is looking at the BLA approval. So two major issues have come up. We're going to address them both. So the confirmatory trial is not started, or they deem the current data is not pivotal. So let's start with the confirmatory trial. We know that the FDA allowed the competitor to halt their confirmatory trial at the moment. I have not been able to find a clinical study for INO 3107. My big question is, would they allow the rolling BLA to start without it? And I believe the answer is no on that one, or they would have to at least start the confirmatory trial by the time of acceptance. Might be part of the requirements for it. So overall, I don't think this is a huge issue, especially since they halted the confirmatory trial for the competitor. The company's phase 1, phase 2 trial, which is not a pivotal trial, was deemed to be solid enough that no phase 3 trial was needed. A confirmatory trial was, and the FDA allowed them to start a rolling submission. So generally, your phase 1 and phase 2 is safety and dosing. Generally, not all the time. After you get that, you get the information, you put it into phase 3 trial, and then you use that phase 3 trial with support from the phase 2 trial to get acceptance. That's pretty much how it's simple. Again, since the company was able to move into a rolling BLA, the thought process is there's not an issue with this because the FDA has already deemed that they did not need a pivotal trial for approval. If the BLA is approved, we're going to expect it somewhere in the fourth quarter 2025. Obviously, being in October would be a lot better than being in December. Okay, so this is probably my main sticking point for the company. So the company is going to ask the FDA to do a priority review, which is a 6-month review instead of a 10-month review. Before approval of the competitor's drug, priority review was fairly certain. Nothing else on the market, first to market, orphan population, piece of cake. That has priority review written all over it. Now, with the approval, that might change. And it's just pretty much going to depend on the FDA person deciding it. If they say, hey, you know what? This is a slightly different drug for the same conditions. We're going to give them priority review. Or if they say, hey, there's already something approved, you get your standard 10-month review. Based on the company's cash data, this could force the company to raise more cash. And we will know more in the next quarter about how many warrants have been cashed. But again, if we have the BLA accepted in December, 6 months from that would be June, which they have money through. 10 months would now be stretching into that fourth quarter, which they might not have money to get through. So you kind of see the issue with that. Now, how they raise the money, no idea. They could do another dilution. Maybe they can do some kind of royalty deal. We will have to find out. Okay, now the PDUFA and the CRL. So we've gotten our BLA accepted. We know if it's priority or not. The PDUFA is Prescription Drug User Fee Act will be set with approval of the BLA, and that's when we're going to get our 6 to 10 months. Of course, with any small cap pharma company, there's greater risk for a CRL. That's a complete response letter. That means you've done something not good. However, CRLs normally hit 3 issues, and that's controls, and that's like manufacturing controls, quality controls, chemistry controls, etc. It's more of a drug site manufacturing issue. And then safety and effectiveness of the trial or the drug. So overall, the company's been allowed to proceed with the safety and effectiveness because we are doing a rolling BLA. I don't believe that is going to be a problem. The company has stated that the facility has already been inspected. Now, they still might do a PII, which is a pre-approval inspection, and find something, but the overall risk is fairly low. We are currently still waiting for a overdue inspection, and it's waiting way too long for it. So again, if they've already inspected the facility, they might say, we're good with it. Might just do a paper audit of it, something like that. And that would be pretty positive. A CRL would push the drug back a minimum of 9 months. You get the CRL, you request a meeting with the FDA, they go within 30 days. You start to fix the issues, you resubmit, 6-month submission. That could definitely hurt the company a lot. Now, I think the risk, the chances of a CRL are fairly low, like 5-10%. So I'm really not putting a lot into it. And then the competition. So there will be another drug on the market, which at a minimum is going to have 9 to 12 months of lead time. I don't believe it's on the market yet. I don't follow that company as well, but it's going to be 9 to 12 months. The drug works differently, and I believe it's going to be really determined based on the patient wishes. So competitor drug is more efficient at the beginning. They had a complete response rate of 50% after the first year. We did not. But it might wane as time goes on. So their second year data was not as good as their first year data. There's also surgeries that might need to be done in this. So, that could be an issue. Our drug does not require surgery, but its complete response was less. Like I said, I think it was in the 30% instead of 50, but greater in the second year. So I think that's really going to be like a patient decision itself. Like you might say, which one do you want? And, there might be someone who is going through 8 surgeries a year, and they say, I want to take the chance and have a year where I don't need any surgeries. This is a better chance. They might use the competitor. You also might have someone who is very surgery adverse. They don't want to do it. They only have 1 or 2 a year at the moment. So they say, hey, the Inovio drug is better. And that's where they go with. So they're around 14,000 patients total. So it is not really an issue. Trying to figure out how it is, especially if at least more than 50% after 2 years have need surgeries after getting the competitor's drug. Okay, that is a lot of information. So the current market cap is 140 million. This drug can easily be a 100+ million drug at a minimum, and that is a 400,000 price tag with 250 people. I get that price tag because that is orphan drugs disease. They normally go between 200 and 600,000. So I just picked 4 because they're right in the middle. I do not know the pricing of the competitor's drug. That might make a difference. But the magic number of patients is probably between that 250 and 500 people mark. And that's going to be 100 to 200 million, somewhere in there to hit the break-even part of the company. The company spends close to 100 million now. That's not including sales staff, which you don't need a huge amount of sales staff, but you will need some. So again, I'm not sure where that magic number is going to be. It might be in the 150s. It might be closer to 200 if they say, hey, we are just going to run all of our trials because now we have the cash for it. Don't know. If there's no more cash raises and the pipeline can move forward, at that point the company is easily worth more than 500 million, and then we can start to look to the next drugs down the line. And of course, that would be a very big improvement over the current stock price that it is now, which is why I'm covering this. So sorry if this went a little bit long. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.